Welcome back. It's One-on-One, and I have as my guest today Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaky, the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria. Before now, we've been trying to examine the issue of Sharia in Nigeria. We've also tried to look at the contradictions in the implementation of Sharia, and he thinks that we should talk of legal reforms and not Sharia. And he also thinks that there should be a revolution. We'll examine that in a moment. But meanwhile, we have a call from Suleja. How are you today, Muhammad?
Hello,
yes.
My question... Hello?
Yes, we are with you, Muhammad.
My question goes to the Sheikh.
Yes.
I'm very glad about the program, sir.
Yes.
And I would like in the sense the Sheikh should give us the steps to be taken before adopting the Sharia legal system.
Okay.
I hope you got my question.
Yes, thank you very much.
And what are the differences between the system being adopted now presently at that time?
Okay. Yeah, we are with you, Muhammad. Thank you very much. Yes, exactly where we've been at. You're saying what steps should be should we adopt?
And incidentally, I think I said in a way that Sharia as a system of punishment comes last to protect a pure society which has already been established. So the first step will be to remove the present system, which is not Islamic. The second step is to establish an Islamic system in its place,
which is pure.
The third step is that Islamic system under an Islamic government should provide for a just and egalitarian atmosphere. Then finally, Sharia will come as a watchdog.
Okay, okay, okay. That's the way to go about it.
That's it.
Is that the way of the revolution you're talking about as well?
Yeah.
What manner of removal are you thinking of?
Yeah,
not a constitutional one to vote out, say, a Senate president who's not doing right, not that kind of...
well, at least when you have that system, perhaps you will end up having pious senators who are not greedy and running after worldly affairs, worldly materials.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. We have another call. Hello there. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hello?
Hello, we are with you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, what's your question? Could you turn down the volume of your television set somewhat? It's rather loud.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's a lot better now.
I'm Dr. Musa from Kaduna.
Yeah, Dr. Musa, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes. The Sheikh is
I have a
up.
question for the Sheikh.
Please go ahead.
She was talking about she gave an example of Iran.
Yes.
As a country where total Islam rules the place. Please, can you tell us the position of Christians in that particular country?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Musa. Well,
thank you very much. Indeed, there are Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians in Iran. And they even have representatives in the National Assembly. All right. There are churches, of course, in Iran. If you go to Tehran, you see a number of them. And it might even interest you to see, if you see a videotape of funeral of the late Imam, Imam Khomeini. The same funeral ceremonies were conducted in churches and synagogues, and as well as shrines of the Zoroastrians, which means there is freedom of religion, even though the system of governance remain Islamic. That means Christians and Jews and other groups with different religions have certain rights, which the Constitution has clearly spelled it out. Meanwhile, it is very clear that no law in that state, that nation, can be contrary to the Islamic principles.
Okay.
So which, actually, if one can understand it, also, I don't think any human being also will be against the law of God, even if he doesn't share it. Much of it is also agrees with the Christian notion of idea of supremacy of God, and the Jewish nation of idea of supremacy of God as well.
Of one God, okay. So there's no contradiction in terms of the religions coming from that end. We have another call coming in. Hello there.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to just ask a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
I've been listening to the contribution so far, but I want him to look at it this way. There is no me give you an example. I came from another state yesterday by 10 p.m. And you see, one of these states is a state adopting Sharia. You now see people that love drinks. What they do is to now go to army barracks to drink. People have lost a lot of their freedom. How are we practicing this? In as much as, if I'm not a Muslim, I don't want to infringe on the Muslim rights. But if I'm a traditional believer, how are we going to do it in order not to infringe on my own belief as a traditional believer or whatever?
Okay.
That is one aspect.
Okay.
Then secondly, is this issue of a full look at everything in totality. You know, there is no constitution for people around in the vicinity. It is believed that this thing, because it will involve a revolution. If other people believe there will be a revolution on the Islamic religion, how will they look at it?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs.
That is my own contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adeola. Thanks for calling in. Two issues now: infringement on the rights of non-Muslims, and the adoption of a singular perspective on issues.
Well,
Maybe
if it is
purely Islamic perspective.
If it is an Islamic state with an Islamic government and Islamic law being practiced, that will be clearly spelled out by the law. So
the law will be arrived at by mostly Nigerians?
Well, I'm speaking of a situation which is Islamic, which presently is not there. The law will clearly say what is right and
wrong.
The rights of the non-Muslims within the Islamic State. How are they going to run their own lives as religions and things they want, like she was talking about people going to army barrack to drink.
Maybe they will create sections for them.
Maybe something of that sort, or limited to their own areas. In the ancient time, when there used to be Islamic states, there used to be communities belonging to non-Muslims. And
that was the idea of the Sabungari thing or something?
Well, Sabungari came after the colonialists have defeated us. I'm talking about prior to the coming of colonialists. In the non-Muslim community, they will have the right to raise a pig and drink alcoholic drinks. All right, within that vicinity alone. And when they move out of that area, they should know that the law has changed. All right. And it is even said that if a Muslim also, for example, kill a non-Muslim's pig or destroy his alcoholic drinks, he will have to pay for it. But within that area. But presently, I cannot say how the partial Sharia can work it out, particularly when it is not accepted, at least on principle, that this is an Islamic state. Even those states claiming to adopt Sharia, they have said time without number that theirs is not an Islamic state. So there I cannot know how they can cope up with the contradictions. All right.
Then the other one is, the unilateral approach. I mean, what can solve this problem eventually, from what you said, is a revolution, perhaps an Islamic revolution.
That's true. But when we have an authority which considers itself against the people, against the wishes of people, against the yearning and aspiration of the people will act, and one day they will get what they want. It has been for about a century now, even before the amalgamation, that is to say, since the coming of what could be considered as Nigeria, that the state has never been run according to the Islamic principles. Not even a single government, a single local government, I will say, can be considered that local government is an Islamic government. There's no Islamic government in this country. And we as Muslims, it's part of our belief that it is Islam that governs us. then there's certainly a limit to how long you will continue
to impose,
to tell the Muslim people that their religion cannot govern them.
What would be the implications of that kind of a thing if eventually when we get to that state where, you know, the Muslim insists that, listen, we must be governed by Islamic laws, we must have an Islamic state. What would be the implications for the corporate existence of a country like Nigeria?
Well, this is for those who are not Muslims.
Yes, they
will make the decision.
Okay.
Whether they will now think that, well, since these people are a majority and we cannot fight them, let us ask for our rights, or whether they will fight it and say they don't agree. But I don't believe that the Muslim will continue to live under secular system.
Okay. That is a point. That is a point. We'll take this call. Hello there.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine.
Yeah, we have Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaky on one-on-one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, I want to ask Sheikh Ibrahim that what exactly do we do now? Since, as he said, there are a lot of contradictions on the Sharia that is now introduced or is about to be introduced in most of the northern states. Do we just leave it like that and go back to what was practiced before, or what exactly is to be done? Because I think the vital point here is people have misunderstood the whole concept of Sharia, and everybody is talking several things in the press, castigating most of the Muslims, castigating the Sharia itself. So what is the way out?
Okay.
This is exactly what I want Sheikh to say.
Thank you very much. Abubakar calling from Abuja. Yes.
Yeah, I think it is very clear that those who introduced the Sharia have made it very clear. At least I have read and heard the Zamfara state governor is in. So it is very clear that the Sharia, as far as he is concerned, is part of the right of the Muslim people as citizens of Nigeria. He is loyal to the Nigerian nation. He is loyal to the Nigerian constitution. He is loyal to
the people who voted in
the federal the government, and he remains a member of his own political party. He is only doing this as part of the right of his citizens.
Okay.
All right. If we understand this, why all the quarrels then?
There's no need for it.
I don't think so. And I think the confusion came as a result of people thinking that we have already become an Islamic state.
In other words, what it does mean from your explanation now is that the implementation of Sharia, whether it's a legal reform or whatever, you know, in some of these states, seem to have jumped the gun, went to the last end of it, which is, you know, the punishment angle of it, without creating an egalitarian society first. That is where you...
Yeah, even that punishment, as I've told you, this is very contradictory in the sense that you have to agree to be punished.
Okay.
Even if you commit crime according to Islamic law, you can choose not to be punished according to the law.
So Jangadi could have said, don't cut my hand?
You could appeal, and then you could even appeal outside the Zamfara.
Okay.
That shows clearly that this is not Islamic Sharia. Okay. It is a type of Sharia which it was invented by the governors.
Political Sharia?
Call it anything you like, but the only thing I know is if I study Islamic Sharia, I find that this is not the Sharia. Quite okay. So the name shouldn't be Sharia.
Even.
Yeah.
It should not even be
Sharia. It should have been that there are legal reforms which allow Muslims who desire to be punished according to their beliefs to be punished that way.
Okay. It's not Sharia. What they are doing is not Sharia.
Well, at least they call it the name. Had it been they didn't call it Sharia, there wouldn't have been confusion. Yeah. The confusion comes because whoever hears Sharia knows that Sharia governs a society.
Yes.
And doesn't mean that now that they have adopted Sharia, it doesn't mean are we now an Islamic state?
So it's the use of that sacred word that has caused all this.
That has caused all the confusion.
Yes.
Had it been, it is legal reforms. Yes. There have been Sharia in the Nigerian constitution.
Yes.
There have been provision for any state that is desired to have Sharia as a court of appeal, then provision can be made also to say that any individual who is a Muslim who desires to be punished for any offense he committed, according to the Islamic teachings, he is free to do to go to Islamic court to be punished that way. It remains part of the Nigerian system.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know. We'll take another call, sir. Hello there.
Hello?
How are you today? Morris, okay. How are you, sir? Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
In the opening remarks, you said that Sharia operates in an environment where we have liberalism, but in a liberal quality. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, do you know that what is happening is that we know there are also
Kando. Yes, go ahead. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Okay.
Yeah, I like the way he has said it. He has already answered it himself. He said misnomer. Yeah, the whole contradictions has been surrounding the name Sharia. Is this Sharia? If it is Islamic Sharia, this is the way to do it. It is what is being done there. And since it is not, you can call it anything you like I have been saying.
But definitely not Sharia.
It had under the caption of, say, legal reform, something of that sort. And as he's rightly mentioned, that before Sharia is applied, you have to make sure that the environment is ready for it. So you cannot punish somebody for a crime which the society has forced him to do. All right. In which case the criminal is the society, not himself. So even when you adopt Sharia, you take it step by step. Yeah. It was just about 2 years that in the Islamic Republic of Iran that they made a law in the assembly saying that male doctors cannot examine female patients.
Just about 2 years ago.
Just about 2 years. When they made it, when they passed the law, the Ministry of Health said that they could not implement the law because they had not enough female doctors to do that. So they have to provide money
to train.
Yeah, to get, even to employ doctors, even it be from outside. Yeah. So that that particular law could be implemented. So they suspended the law until the provision were made for the money, for the establishment of the hospitals and the employment of enough female doctors. Then the law was put into practice. So when you impose a law, which is just in theory is there, practically it's not that, you are just deceiving yourself. Yeah. So even if you have an Islamic state, we have an Islamic government, we have an Islamic law imposed, we don't deceive ourselves by saying it is simply Islamic. We make it practical. Okay. So what is happening in this case is just a name, and it appears that they have to go by it because the people simply say they should do it. And it is very clear that from the way it's going, since the people just yearn for a name, Sharia, all the states are likely to go the other way. Okay. So they will just declare Sharia, Sharia, Sharia. Okay. And then in practice, it won't be there. And he was in his second question, he was saying partial or full rule. Will it be applicable in this country? I would say full is possible, but those steps have to be taken fast, not as Nigeria as it is now. So we have to take the 3
major steps. Create an egalitarian society.
Not that one first.
Okay. The revolution first.
Removal of the present system, establishment of Islamic one in its place, then provision for that egalitarian and just system, then
for punishment. Okay, we have another call. Hello there.
Hello?
How are you?
I'm Hadiza from Abuja.
Hadiza, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Yeah, you have a question for the Sheikh?
Okay, sir. I will say I'm thanking the Sheikh for taking his time to organize and explain what Sharia means to the people. Yeah. Because as everyone knows that if you accept a religion, you must live up to the rules of the religion. So many people see Sharia is barbaric and I get a punishment to the people. But I don't think it will affect even the non-Muslims if the Sharia is being practiced. Okay. And I still thank the Sheikh for explaining what the Sharia means to the people.
Okay. Thank you very much, Hadiza. Thanks indeed.
It's only a comment.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say, you know, that's the lady who called now, and what interpretation of the implementation is that it tends to discriminate. Maybe it's a misrepresentation of facts. It tends to discriminate against women.
That's not true.
Does it put women on equal footing with men?
In fact, it did even more than that. You have to understand that Islamic law, the Sharia, is a divine law. It is not framed and formulated by mankind. It's by God. That's our belief. And God, who created us, knows us better. And he treats us according to what he knows of our own nature. Men and women are made with some differences. And it is only just to understand those differences and treat each according to those differences. For example, if you give men and women same work to do, say hard work, yes, and then pay them the same salary, we will say that you have cheated the women because they exert more effort in doing the job. They should have been paid even better. So in Islamic law, women have been recognized with that sort of weakness, and they have been protected. They are not supposed to provide for themselves, to earn a living for themselves. Someone must provide for them. Even if they earn some income, it is for themselves only. That's to say, if the husband and wife, two of them earn income, the husband must take care of the wife, even if she is a millionaire. That's the principle. That's the principle. Yeah. In fact, no civilization and no religion and no culture has honored women as Islam. How much more?
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. The dress the women wear, yes, is a kind of robe which people of honor wear. Yeah. No, that's because they are considered queens, yes, so they dress as queens.
Yes, they must be held on that pedestal. Yes. That's good to know. I thank you very much, Sheikh Ibrahim El Zakzaky. In so short a time, we've expended almost 1 hour discussing the Sharia and looking at issues in the Nigerian nation state. I thank you very much. It's a good exposé on the Sharia issue. Well, we'll thank you very much. We want to believe that even so, Nigeria still stands to enjoy your contributions from time to time, for a long time. Shouldn't we expect that?
Well, inshallah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on One-on-One.
Thank you.
And later on this afternoon at 12:30, we'll have another guest on the program. Is Professor Peter Olafiuye. He's of the National University of San Diego in California, the United States of America. He's a professor of English, and we shall be talking English when it comes on. And tomorrow on the program, we'll have a frontline politician, political activist, Haja Sarah Jibril on the program. Please keep a date with us then. And thank you for coming on, Sheikh. And thanks for the love, the care, and the concern. I'll see you later. Thank you, Sheikh.
This is where it happened. Now let me tell you.